Hi, I am Tina Arnold,
And I'm Johnny Arnold.
and this is Suspect Paranormal.
Episode 9.
Okay.
So we do have a special announcement tonight. Good news and bad news, sad news and happy news. Um, and as you can tell, we're set up a little different now. So, ow! Well, it just went in the floor, honey.
I tried.
So somehow we have managed to get our desks facing each other again.
Yes, it's just destined.
It is destined. I have been in here my entire Thanksgiving week, 7 days straight, pretty much working on our studio, and then actually made the garage into our studio and theater and office.
Yes.
So it's definitely like cramped.
No, it doesn't feel cramped though. It feels
It's
open to me. It feels really good in here.
well, the theater area is open. Uh, Once we get all this stuff over here taken care of, like we have a scooter and some shelves and stuff. It's just got a little bit more reorganizing, and then it'll be done completely.
I like it.
I just heard a ding.
I was pulling the video up so I could see you because your monitor is in my view. I can't see your pretty face.
Oh, that's it. But yeah, we got a special announcement tonight.
It's that now I'm sick.
Oh yeah, now Tina's sick.
Ugh.
It has gone full circle now.
I feel icky.
Yeah.
All right, so do you want to do your segment and then mine? Mine's kind of long.
Is yours the bad story?
It is.
Okay. Uh,
But I think because you have the announcement, should you do it at the beginning or the end?
I think we should do it at the end.
Okay, then I will do my horrifying story.
But this is a story. This is a news that you definitely want to stick around for. So
Okay, so my story is the Groen family. Um, it's a really, this was a really difficult story to research. It's a very devastating story. So the reason that I even decided to look into this story was I was scrolling Instagram and I saw a story about Shasta Groen, and she was, telling her story. And I, of course, naturally, I was curious. I wanted to learn more. She was, just telling a very small portion in a People interview. So we're going to go back to the beginning of her story. On May 15th, 2005, 8-year-old Shasta Groen shared a room with her 9-year-old brother, Dylan. Sometime in the night, she called Dylan over to her bed because she thought she'd seen someone in her closet. He stayed with her until she fell asleep. A few hours later, she was shaken awake by her frantic, crying mother who was telling her she needed to wake up because someone was in the house. Brenda was her mother. So Brenda would then take her 2 youngest children downstairs to the family room where their 13-year-old brother, Slade, and Brenda's boyfriend, Mark, were lying face down on the floor, bound, tied, and duct taped. Excuse me. I know I sound rough. I can barely breathe right now.
you sound sexy.
You like my sick voice, huh?
I do.
Also in the room with Slade and Mark was a man dressed in all black wearing a mask with night vision goggles, holding a shotgun. He turned the gun on Brenda and ordered her and the youngest kids to the floor. He then tied up Brenda and the youngest 2 children and carried the children both outside, putting them on the lawn. Right here, I feel like I should have already given a warning, so I'm going to give a warning. This story is going to hit lots of triggers for lots of people. So this is your trigger.
Trigger?
This is your trigger warning. From here, it gets really, what's the word I'm looking for, Johnny?
Graphic.
Graphic.
Gruesome.
Yes. So if you are sensitive, you might want to turn back now. He went back inside, and according to Shasta, all she could hear was thumping and Mark's cries of pain, but she had no idea what was happening in the house until she saw her older brother, Slade, run out the door, covered in blood. He'd broken through his bindings, except for his hands. They were still behind his back. The man in black was right behind him and began beating him with the hammer until he fell limp to the ground. The man in black then cut the zip ties off the youngest 2 and put them in his Jeep. Slade and Shasta stared at each other until Slade slumped down, leaving Shasta to believe in that moment he had died. But the police said later he must have woke up again and crawled back inside the house, where he would make it to his mother before he died at her feet. She and Mark had both been beaten to death with the same hammer that eventually killed Slade. The man in black drove them off into the night, and when Shasta would wake up again, they were in the Lolo Forest in Montana. The man told them his name was Joe, but that the kids couldn't call him that. They had to call him either Dad, Daddy, or Jet. Jazzy Jet, he said, was the name that his prison husband had given him.
Prison husband.
That's what he told them. He took out the same shotgun that he had held on their mother, and to make sure that they'd listen and do what he said, he shot it into a tree, telling them that he'd do the same to them if they got out of line. He also had the children convinced that their mother was still alive, and he'd return them once he was done with them if they obeyed him. The first hour they were in the forest, he told them both that he was sent by God and that he was the devil. He forced the kids to recite the Lord's Prayer while he did stuff to them. Shasta said she fell asleep that night holding Dylan's hand. Over the next few weeks, he'd continue to essay them, with the assaults getting worse and worse. Occasionally, he'd leave, chaining them up first so they couldn't get away, and he'd come back with food and other supplies. Shasta said she promised her brother that they'd make it out alive, but they didn't try to escape when he'd leave because they both knew they'd get lost in the forest and they wouldn't make it out alive. So Joe told the kids one day if they could catch the squirrel that kept coming into their camp, he'd take them both home and let them go. Dylan caught a squirrel, and because he caught the squirrel, Joe let the kids pack up the camp under the pretense that he was letting them go home. When they were done, Shasta and Dylan were standing holding hands, waiting to be told to get into the Jeep. But Joe turned around to them holding the shotgun instead, and Shasta heard a loud bang. She then felt Dylan's hand leaving hers, so she turned to look and saw him on the ground trying to hold himself together. He'd been shot in the abdomen. Joe then walked over and shot him one more time in the head. He forced the little girl to help him put her brother's body onto a tarp. He then poured gasoline over him, lit a match, and threw it onto his body. This one's really hard to get through.
Yeah.
He then turned to Shasta and asked her, how she wanted to die, by gunshot or strangulation. She said that she felt like there was a familiar voice telling her to pick strangulation so that she would have time to talk him out of it. As he tightened the rope around her neck, everything started to drift out, but she asked one last time, "Please don't, Jet." And he stopped.
You said you felt like it was the mother talking to her.
I do. I do feel like, she doesn't know right now that her mom is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's been telling her for 48 days that their mother is still alive and he's going to return them to her.
Yeah.
But I feel like it was her mother guiding her, telling her what to do so that she would survive.
Yep.
So when she said, "Please don't, Jet," he stopped and began to cry. He told her that he wasn't sure why, but when she used that name, he could tell she really cared about him. Now, y'all remember, she's 8 years old. Okay? This is an 8-year-old little girl. Our son is 10. Our youngest child is 10.
Mm-hmm.
This is just... All right. Shasta saw right then what she had to do. She began making him believe she liked being there with him and started telling him she didn't want to go home anymore. He was her friend and she enjoyed being with him. It caught him off guard and made him start to trust and believe her. And this is why I was saying that. She's 8, but she's incredibly mature and intelligent beyond her years to be able to think of that,
Oh, yeah. Oh.
She knew exactly what she needed to say and do to get a grown man to trust her. A grown man with severe psychological issues.
Yeah.
Who probably doesn't trust anybody. She told him that she would go with him to his hometown and live with him as his daughter, but first he'd have to take her back to her hometown so that she could show him her favorite places so he would better know her life and what she had grown up in. First, they stopped at a gas station where she was later seen on camera making eye contact with every passing adult in hopes someone would recognize her, but they didn't. The next and final stop was the local Denny's. They had sat down and were about to order when the waitress Shasta was making eye contact with recognized her. Shasta realized she recognized her and just nodded her head, and the woman told her manager, who called the police. After a month and a half in captivity, after losing her brothers and her mom, she was finally free. In October of 2006, Joseph Duncan pleaded guilty to the murders of Brenda, Slade, and Mark. He was sentenced to 3 life sentences for their kidnapping. They decided to hold off on the sentencing for their murders until the federal trial for taking the kids across state lines. After everything was said and done, they would uncover 3 more children that he had murdered. He would be sentenced for kidnapping and harming Shasta, as well as murdering Dylan and another 10-year-old little boy named Anthony Martinez. There were 2 other children, sisters Sammy Jo White and Carmen Cubias, but for some reason, he was not sentenced for them. In August 2008, what is that, 3 years after the fact? Yep. A little over 3 years after he had done all of this. He got the death penalty, but died in prison on death row in March of 2021 of brain cancer.
Well,
while you collect your thoughts, I'm going to give...
He felt it. He felt it.
He did, but I feel... Let me just say this real quick. Shasta is now married with 5 kids and trying every day to overcome her past, which you can imagine. She shares her story now in hopes of helping other victims. Okay. That story is done. Thank God. So, I feel I feel that there were several injustices done there. For one, the little girls, he wasn't sentenced for them. Even though they found him guilty, they pinned them to him. They didn't sentence him for them. And I don't feel like that's fair. I think that if I were the mother of those two little girls, I would feel jaded. I would be very upset.
Did they say why?
They did not say why. But I also feel like he was allowed to live too long.
Well, unfortunately, that's the way death row works. They will sit on death row for 10, 20 years, decades,
But
literally
here's my
decades, and get to live out their lives. And then by the time they end up getting to the point where it's time to be executed, they're either already dead because from whatever, but they've gotten to live that long, all the way up until it's time to,
But this is my thing. Me and you have discussed on the show before. If, without a shadow of a doubt, you know that they are guilty, they should be put to death immediately.
Right.
In my opinion. Do not let them sit on our tax dollar.
Nope.
Do not let them live. They are getting to breathe and live and get, a chance at feeling anything. And those kids did not. It was robbed from them.
I agree.
He admitted to doing it.
Yep.
So there is no doubt. And she was alive. She survived. They found her with him. There's no doubt. So I feel like he should have been sentenced and put to death the same time.
I agree.
To be able to go on, I'm horrible at math and I really don't feel good right now. So 13 more years. 13 more years. So he lived 13 more years, which was the age of Slade, the older brother that he took first. Dylan was 9. He never got to see 13. And I can almost guarantee you that Shasta's 13th year was still bitter. It was still awful.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was still, and probably still to this day, relives this over and over again.
Yep.
He should not have been able to live for 13 more years, in my opinion.
I agree. 100%.
Okay. I'm done.
Okay. So my segment, we're not talking about paranormal, but that kind of had some paranormal twists in it. Because I think that I kind of agree with you on that.
You think her mom was guiding her?
The mother guiding her, or at least somebody was guiding her.
Yeah.
Guardian angel maybe, or mother, another family member, who knows? But I definitely think that she was being guided. Especially to be able to, like, she's 8 years old and she knew how to manipulate the situation to her betterment. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, didn't work out for the rest of them. But anyways, our special announcement. Little sad, a little happy. Well, a lot happy.
Johnny's pregnant.
I am pregnant. It's going to be a food baby. No. So Tina and I have come to the agreement that we are now shutting down Suspect Paranormal after 9 episodes. And here's why. And it actually, because this was the actual second take of this story, and so you can all blame me for this. This story, the first time I heard it, it really got to me. And since the beginning of Suspect Paranormal, I haven't felt like this show has been right, if that makes any sense. It's I think I have a big problem with all the negativity and darkness and evil that's kind of being promoted on social media right now, and all the internet bullies and stuff like that. And I thought, we've had a lot of people come to us and say that they love our dynamic together, and so I figured that we would do a positive podcast. And Tina agreed with me.
I did, because I've been thinking about it too. I've been convicted for a while about putting more negativity out there where there's already such a cesspool of negativity.
Exactly.
And if you had seen the first recording of this show, it got messed up. But if you had seen it, at the end of the story, I was talking about how I wanted to put happiness out in the world. I wanted to be a part of the positivity that gets spread, not the negativity.
Right.
So we were both, shocked that the other one had been thinking about that.
Mine has really been since we started the whole thing. Like it's been like, I don't want to be somebody that's promoting just like everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be promoting the bad stuff when everybody else is promoting the bad stuff. If you want to see bad stuff, you can turn on the news or scroll through any other social media. You see it constant. What?
It's not even that it's just bad stuff. We like true crime. We like to watch it, but we like to be able to turn it off when we need to. Excuse me. And when you're researching it, and you're constantly having to read stuff about it all week long so that you can prepare for your show to talk about it, you're not ever able to turn it off. And so there's no breathing room to get out from under it. And we both like and study and believe in the paranormal. But again, when you're having to talk about it all the time, you're keeping it in the forefront of your mind constantly. And then, like he said, and then we're putting it out there in the world for all of you to have to listen to constantly. And
to me, that's just adding to the problem, because we're still promoting it just like everybody else is. And that I don't want to do that. I don't want to promote negativity.
So we want to bring sunshine and fairies and rainbows.
And we're both on our own personal journeys with our marriage and the kids and our own mental health. And so this new podcast that we're doing, it's going to focus on us as just our journey and our interests, all of our interests in talking about how the traveling and in our own personal journey to better ourselves. And hopefully we can motivate and inspire other people to kind of take that same route and go down that same road and try to get away from not only the negativity in the world, but the negativity on how you see yourself and feel about yourself, and try to make a difference in just how we live our lives and being self-aware and such. So,
well, I also want to shine light on people out there that are doing good things.
Well, that's another thing that I was saying that we could do with the new podcast is find stories that are positive and instead of talking about videos where you have kids recording someone drowning, you got somebody that is actually out there that
jumping in
and doing what they're supposed to be doing. Definitely want to promote morality with this new show. We have already registered everything except for the domain name. But we got our podcast name and it's ready to go up. And the name of the podcast is Above the Below.
I love it.
And I might actually show the intro at the end of this podcast.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to be our personalities, our real personalities, and our real interests, and our real journeys, and our real stories, coming out to the public, and and hopefully, like I said, hopefully it'll help somebody or help you guys out with your struggles and how you do things. And if you notice, I'm wearing my sunglasses again because that's one of my insecurities. Is I was in a car accident when I was 19 and it cut part of my eyelid off.
I think he's beautiful.
That's why when you see some of the older podcasts, it looks like my eye's not closing because I don't have an eyelid to close it with. I mean, I got partial eyelid, but
I can't put my insecurities away. They're right there.
well, that's just one of them. I mean, you can see the scar going down here and blah, blah, blah. But I'll definitely be talking more about that on the new podcast. And I don't know. I think that this new podcast is going to be very therapeutical for...
Therapeutic.
Therapeutic. Is that...
And come December, I'm out of contract.
Oh, yeah.
So I can start sharing my weight loss journey.
That's right. You can share a lot.
Yes, I can.
I don't know. Are you allowed to say that? Like, are you allowed to say that your contract is up? So are you confirming something? No?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, I for one am glad.
Yes.
Once again, I'm sure there's going to be a burst of the bullying bubble for a minute after. But yeah, hopefully it'll be like it'll be like a very short period, and then
I'm not worried about them. Do you hear our daughter?
I hear somebody like laughing or something.
It's Mary.
No.
She's watching The Office.
Oh.
She is laughing her butt off in there.
So our next oldest daughter has discovered The Office.
Yes.
And she has been watching that thing nonstop.
Oh, she loves it.
I liked it. I mean, it was good. I don't watch every single episode, but...
So can we tell them about where we went today?
Oh, yeah. I don't remember what it was. Oh, Nancy.
The Nancy Hart State Park.
Yeah.
I'm sick, y'all. Like, really sick. And I hate being stuck in the bed and stuck in the house when I'm sick. I know a lot of people, they just want to lay in the bed, rest, whatever. I want to push through it because I feel like if I keep doing, then I get over it faster. But if I lay in the bed, it takes forever for me to get better. And I don't want to die in bed.
Hey, I went to work and did the podcast.
Yes, I know. I'm so proud of you. But for me, if I'm going to go, I'm going to go doing what I love, which is traveling. So let me go by the lake.
So this place was like an hour and a half away and...
Towards South Carolina. For some reason, y'all know I've said so many times, when I'm looking for a place for us to go, I just open the map, swirl it around, and stop it somewhere. And for some reason, we keep getting pulled out to Elbert County.
And we love it out there.
And yeah, like we are so in love with this area. And today there was a place called the Nancy Hart State Park, and we really like to go and explore state parks. Well,
hold on. All right. So before she gets into this story, I have to let everybody know I was running off of 3 hours of sleep.
Oh, good God. You're always running off of 3 hours of sleep.
I'm
You
not
work
always,
third shift.
not always. Damn it! I at least usually get like 6 hours today, but last night I was working on the new intro for the new podcast, and I didn't get in bed until like 5:30, and then I woke up at 8:30 and couldn't get back to sleep. So I just got up and I was going to stay up the rest of the day.
And he did.
And I did until about, and then it started hitting me after sitting in the car for an hour and a half to get out to this place. And then it just kept on hitting me and hitting me and hitting me. And so,
To be fair, I sent you the name of the place.
Yes.
So that you could look it up and see how far it was.
But I wasn't going to do that. You know I don't do that. I ain't going to do that.
Well, then it's on you.
But I did. I took a little bit of a nap in the car for like maybe 45 minutes or
mouth
so.
open, snoring, the whole thing.
Probably drooling. Woke up with my neck stiff, and then we got back, and I laid down for another,
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half. And so, yeah. But when we were there, I felt like a zombie, and I probably looked like a zombie, and it was cold as shit outside.
It was freezing.
And it was raining. Or more like drizzle, and it was not fun. But it was a beautiful place. I ain't gonna say that. Huh?
I had a full night's sleep though.
Yeah, but I mean 3 hours of sleep, freezing and wet, and so it was just like, and my feet were like freezing because I just did not think it through.
You wore Hey Dudes.
Yeah, I didn't think it through, so I wore my Hey Dudes, which are like. All right, so I have to tell you, Hey Dudes are the most comfortable shoes that you will ever wear if they're not wet and if it's not cold outside.
You need thicker socks.
I need thicker shoes.
Yeah, Hey Dudes.
I should have worn my boots.
Send you a winterized version.
I wonder if they have that.
I don't know. So anyway, we were looking for like this big state park, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're used to.
I'm going to Hey Dudes.
Are you serious? You're going to do this while I'm talking? You're so rude.
I'm not trying to be rude.
You don't have to try. It comes natural.
I'm listening to you. I got a shove to the side over here.
Anyway.
Ooh, 15% off.
See, look. It's so rude. So we get there and we fly past it. And like, okay, that cabin cannot be the state park. That's just the entrance. We're going to keep going. So we keep going, and then it's just houses. And so I realized, okay, that was the whole state park. It is literally a cabin. Well, hold on. From the road, when you go down the driveway, it's a pavilion with some picnic tables, and then a well house, an outhouse, and a cabin.
A working outhouse.
A working outhouse.
I used it.
And that is it. That is it. And then there's like this little plaque in front of the cabin that it needs to be updated because you can barely read it anymore.
Yeah.
But the story behind her, this is the Nancy Hart cabin. And this isn't the original cabin. The original cabin was washed away in a flood. And so I can't remember the name. Let me look. Some women's group.
I don't know. It was really cool. And you would think that with state funding, they'd be able to kind
of... keep it updated?
Yeah, keep it.
I don't know. In the 1930s, the Daughters of the American Revolution reconstructed Nancy Hart's cabin, which had been washed away in a flood many years before. So, there's that. She was apparently a really big deal in the American Revolution. The story that is on the plaque in front of the cabin that you can barely make out, I had to actually come and look it up online to get the full story, was that she and her daughter were in the cabin one day, and this was after she had been, dressing like a man, going through enemy camps to listen and spy, to bring information back to the other side.
She did that?
She did.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
I thought she just
No. So
soldiers.
These men came to her cabin looking for her to question her about something that had happened that she had been indicated in.
Right.
And When they came in, she fed them. She gave them something to drink. She sat them at her table, and they piled all of their rifles in the corner of her cabin together. And while her daughter was distracting them with food and drink and talking to them, she was slipping rifles out through a hole in the cabin wall until the only rifle left was the one she was holding on them.
It was their rifles she was...
Yes.
Oh.
And so she shot and killed one of the men and shot and injured a second man. There were 6 men total. She had her daughter run and go get her husband. He came back, and they discussed whether or not they were going to shoot the rest of the men or if they were going to hang them, and they hung them from a tree next to the cabin. And for a long time, people thought that this was just a myth. But let me pull this up.
So where they reconstructed the cabin, is that where the original was?
Yes.
Okay.
In 1912, a railroad company's archaeological excavation of the land unearthed 6 skeletons, suggesting that there was some truth to what they believed previously to be a myth.
That's crazy.
So that's where we went today. Unknowingly, we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. We thought we were going to a state park. We were going to hike a little bit, see.
It was literally a horseshoe driveway with a cabin and outhouse and a well house.
Yes, but I love history. I grew up watching the History Channel and learning about history with my dad, and so I love to learn about history like this.
Me too.
And that's something that we have in common.
That's right.
And so this was really cool for us to stumble upon today. But we spent maybe 30 minutes there, and, we were freezing.
I mean, there's not much to do. You got a cabin. We did go inside the cabin.
Yeah, you can go inside. But if you go inside, please be respectful of the property. Mm-hmm. But then I wasn't satisfied because I had driven an hour and a half. And I was expecting to go and visit a state park, take some photos, and walk around. So we went 25 minutes away to the Richard B. Russell State Park, and that place was gorgeous.
It was. Oh.
We want to go back when it's warmer.
It doesn't have to be warmer. I just got to dress better and possibly get a little bit more sleep. 6 hours minimum.
Okay.
And then I'll go. I was telling Tina, it's like really weird because the Russell, what is it called?
Richard B. Russell.
Richard B. Russell Park. It looks almost like Tallulah Gorge, the lower part of Tallulah Gorge. Yeah. Like the whole beach setup and everything. It looked just like it.
The only thing missing was our Subway picnic.
That's right.
We did take Clara with us.
Yep.
She wanted to go with us today, and so she got to experience that.
And we took a lot of video, so a lot of photos. So, and I still got to upload the other one.
Y'all, I have been on this man telling him to upload this video, and what I hear every time,
I'm going to do it.
I'm going to do it tonight.
I am going to do it tonight. I got to stay up tonight, so
I'm going to do it tonight.
Another thing I forgot to mention is the new setup. This is what you're seeing right now is the way that the new podcast is going to be seen and set up. And I got my little, where am I at? Sonic here. And then all my crap right there.
You'll have to move your head.
And then all of my, well, not all of it, but
some of his toys and collectibles.
Yeah, some of my collectibles, and
I got mine behind me.
And Tina's got hers, and she's got her
here.
Darth Vader dude over there. She wanted. Oh, interesting fact about World of Warcraft.
Oh, good Lord. Really?
So I follow this guy that was.
Dork. I love you, though.
I follow this guy that was an ex-developer for Blizzard, and he said if you're familiar with World of Warcraft, you know who the Murlocs are. But he said that the voice for the Murloc, where it goes, "Wah, wah, 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 wah," that's actually another developer that had yogurt in his mouth and was making the noise for the Murlocs.
Isn't that funny? One of the most recognizable sounds from the game
Yep.
was a man with yogurt in his mouth going blah, blah, blah.
I miss the original voiceover guy too, like the raspy British guy. I think he passed away though. He was the one that did the intros
Oh,
and the cinematics and stuff.
I didn't watch those. I space bar out of those.
No,
Yeah, I just want to run around, kill things, and collect stuff.
no,
Yeah.
the stories are so interesting. Well, not anymore, but they used to be so interesting.
Sorry.
So you're part of the problem. That's why they got rid of innovation.
No, don't blame me. I just don't want to hear the stories.
Oh, that's crazy. Because when you get... So, I didn't really like any of the newer expansion packs. I haven't played in quite a while. Like,
What was the one that we loved so much?
my favorite was...
Burning Crusades?
Well, yeah, that was the second one. My favorite was Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah. I liked Wrath of the Lich King, but I think my favorite was Burning Crusades.
But it seems like everything from... What was the name? Legion. Legion ruined it.
They made it too easy. They made it so that there's no challenge anymore. And you can just run through and do everything. I don't know. It was so much harder when we first started playing it. And you had to actually put thought into it and strategy and go find things and
find people to play
Yes.
with. And, yeah, if you did any raids or anything like that, you would actually have to go into the channels and kind of...
yeah. And now
Yep.
everything just glows.
Yeah, now everything just glows.
Lead
It's
you to it.
only one step away from being a. Have you ever played those MMOs where you just click on the quest and it automatically just takes you to wherever you got to go?
I don't know.
So it reminds me of that. It's one step away from that, but. I don't know. They started reskinning everything and just reusing everything over and over and over again so much that it was just I couldn't.
The quests also became too repetitive. You're
Yep.
doing the same thing over and over again. It's just, okay, now you get more of this.
Yep.
And so it became really boring. A game is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to, capture your imagination and keep you interested. And it did at first. And now it's just, I fall asleep playing. So,
See, my problem was my biggest problem was it wasn't that it wasn't challenging with like enemy fights and stuff. My problem was that the quests were just too easy and brainless, and like you didn't have to think to get through them anymore. So what they thought was going to fix it was that they started doing level scaling. So if you built your character up to max level and you went to what used to be a level 1 area, then it would automatically rescale to, I think the highest was like a level 60 or something. I don't remember, but so you could go back to the level 1 area and still get experience points or get whatever reputation and all that stuff. And so you're sitting there at a max level character, you go back to a level 1 area and a squirrel can beat your ass. So that's stupid. That's dumb, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just...
you know what I want to play really bad?
What?
I want to play Harry Potter Legacy.
Yeah, I did too.
Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to play that.
Yep.
For so long, when WoW came out and we were playing WoW and then Harry Potter was out in the movies, and I was thinking, I always said I would love to have a Harry Potter game where it's like WoW.
Oh, it's not like, well, it's not an MMO.
Oh, I thought it was an
No,
MMO.
they were going to originally make it an MMO and then they changed it.
Oh, that's disappointing. So what is it now?
Single player, I think you can group up with people. I'm not sure, but
See, I think what would be awesome is if it was an MMO like WoW where you have open map. You can go anywhere and but you're Harry Potter and you're in the Harry Potter world.
Yeah. I don't know why they didn't go that route. I know it's a lot more expensive to do MMO type stuff than it is to do just single player or multiplayer.
Yeah, but can you imagine the Harry Potter fans that would have been in on that?
Yep. And I think you're kind of limited on that game to where you're kind of stuck at Hogwarts.
Oh.
And I'm not really sure how far you really get to venture out. I know you get to go outside of Hogwarts, the building, but I don't know if you actually leave the grounds or not. But I don't know. It still looks like a fun game.
Yeah,
like,
I still want to try it.
Mm-hmm.
I am disappointed that it's not what I thought, but
No.
I do want to try it.
They were going to go that route, and I guess they were like, "Oh, that's going to be a bit more expensive than we thought." And then people were complaining about it not being released fast enough, and then all that stuff. So that time lapse, the whole time frame, and then complaints, and then money. So I guess that just threw the MMO aspect of it out the window.
Oh well.
I want to try New World though.
What is that?
It's an MMO by Amazon.
Huh?
It looks very interesting. It's been out for a while, but it looks very interesting. One that I really miss is Rift.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Rift.
It's still around.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
I had a hard time coming away from WoW. I couldn't do Guild Wars. There was another one that you used to play.
Another one?
I thought so, but
I played the Star Wars one for a little while.
I did like Rift a lot.
Rift was really fun, and that was actually a lot of developers that worked on the original Warcrafts.
Well, that explains
came
it then.
over and they started their own company.
Yeah.
I can't. Guild Wars 2 was okay. It wasn't as fun as I thought it was going to be, but they've already got to like 4 or 5 expansion packs. They're still running good. They're still running strong.
I bet. So a lot of people liked Guild Wars.
Rift is still around. It's free to play, but you can pay to win type thing on there.
What?
Yeah, you can pay for your level to be up, and yeah, I don't like to pay. You don't have to pay to win, but I did. I put money into it years ago when it first, because I had originally bought it, remember? And then I bought it, and I was playing beta of it, and I did the same thing with Guild Wars 2. So I really want to record the first episode of the new podcast, either Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay. I've already got some stuff ready.
Hopefully Wednesday. And then that gives me Thursday to edit.
Okay.
And that's it. So don't forget, new podcast is going to be called Above the Below. And I will probably be setting up an Instagram account tonight and uploading our travel video and working on some other stuff.
Y'all are going to love the travel video.
Yeah.
I watched it with him, and it was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
You caught us in one of our better moments.
Kind of scared to hear how the audio is going to be on this one, because we didn't use any mics except for the phone mic.
Yeah, but you don't have to use the travel video from today.
Oh.
If you can, that's fine, but I'm sick. My energy level was low. It might not be very entertaining. It's not a big deal if you don't use that one.
Yeah, I was tired, and I don't think we really joked around too much in it.
No.
We didn't really do a lot of talking.
No. There was a lot of silent driving.
Yeah.
So, it's not a big deal. There will be more.
Yeah. I would like to go back out to the cabin, though. When we get our lavaliers, if we ever get our lavaliers,
we will get
then
them.
I want to go back to that place, because that's a really cool. Even though it is an hour and a half and it's so small, we could go out to the other place, the Russell place.
Yep.
And stop at the little cabin first, and then do something there.
I also want to go walk around Fort Sonia. I don't know if that's the way it's pronounced. That's the way it's spelled.
That would be cool. I didn't know there was a fort out there.
No, it was the town that we rode through that I told you, look, it's another dead town.
I wonder if they do have a fort out there, though.
I don't know.
What was the place that we go to in Savannah?
Fort Pulaski.
Yes.
I want to go to that too.
That place is supposed to be haunted.
You're not supposed to talk about that.
No. It's built in.
Yeah. It's going to slip in every now and then.
All right. Well, I guess I'm done.
Yes.
Definitely check out Above the Below. We will be available on YouTube and everything else. Actually, I switched our what do you call it? Hosting for our podcast. I went back to an old one that I used that really likes to promote your stuff, especially if you do the paid thing per month, but we're not doing that right now. So hopefully that'll help out a lot as far as getting us into rotation and stuff like that. And the more that you guys share the podcast or share YouTube videos or do the like and subscribe and the notification bells
and commenting, any kind of interaction.
All of that it puts us into higher rankings for the YouTube algorithms, and so even on Spotify, it's the same. It works the exact same way. Mm-hmm. And it throws you into that whole algorithm thing, and it gets the show out there. So help us out, and if you haven't done so, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and the notification bell will notify you via email, I believe. And so when we get our new podcast up, it'll be right there, and then it'll send you an email and let you know that it's up.
Yep. And in the meantime, if you would like, you can send us on any of our social media a message with an inspirational story that you'd like to share.
Yep. Absolutely. And suspectparanormal.com is still up, so you can still shoot messages over there also.
Right.
But we are going to have to get a domain for this one. At least an email, if nothing else. And hopefully, within the next 4-ish months or so, we got some more big news coming up. Tina's going to be starting a new business, but I'm not going to say anything right now until it actually gets out there.
It's not really a new business.
Well, it's not really a new business, but
yeah,
it's different. It's not better. It's just different.
We need to put that on a shirt.
So that's it.
That's Johnny's famous saying. It's not better. It's just different.
Right. You got anything else?
I have nothing else. I'm tired. I'm sick. I'm ready to sign off, y'all.
Okay. All right. So keep an eye out. We'll be posting promotional stuff for Above the Below. We're going to be flooding Facebook and Instagram and everything else. So just keep an eye out for it, and we'll give you a date for public release for the new podcast.
Yep.
And that's it.
Until then, y'all have a good night.
Until then, peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.